Hey guys, this is the second video that I talked about doing, and this is um, my thoughts, my initial thoughts after one viewing of the WandaVision series or season finale. And I want to start this review by a little bit of a different discussion. I want to talk about fan expectations and truth, so to speak. It is not Marvel's complete responsibility to cater to every one of our expectations. That is not their job. Their job is two things: to provide entertainment to mass audiences, not just the niche of comic book fans, but to mass audiences. And their job is to make money for the Walt Disney Company. That's it. Entertainment and money for Disney. That's how it goes. And on those levels, they have done a brilliant job with WandaVision. We'll get into some of my other thoughts in a minute. But I want to talk about a couple of things that frustrate me about fans. If you have noticed, when I've done these little snippets of WandaVision thoughts, I have never much said, like, oh, I was expecting this, or I was expecting that, or I was, thinking this would happen, I was thinking that. I am one of those people that has the ability, I think, to take a piece of entertainment at face value and just say, let's just see where this goes. And then after each episode, did that episode make me happy? Or did it disappoint me or bore me or whatever? So I have never been one to get hardcore into, oh, this is my theory from the comic books. I was a comic book reader, but I am not a hardcore break down every Easter egg person. That is not me. I go for the emotional impact for my entertainment. And on that level, this show exceeds all expectations. But I want to go back to a couple of months ago. Early February or late January, there was an article. It's been a while since I read it, where an interviewer asked Elizabeth Olsen, and I might say this question's a little bit leading. He asked her, are there any surprise castings or people that you're working with that you're excited about? And she said, yes, I'm excited. A day after that, every headline on the internet says there's going to be a shocking casting. And then you have Paul Bettany doing a tongue-in-cheek interview where he says, there's an actor I'm excited to work with in the finale. It's tongue-in-cheek. He's referring to the big battle sequence in the finale. It's a very tongue-in-cheek comment if you read that. And what Elizabeth, all she said was, yes, I'm excited. And I believe what she was excited about is, and there's spoilers here if you haven't seen up to this point in WandaVision, what she was excited about is Evan Peters, the Evan Peters reveal, because this interview was before the Evan Peters reveal. So everybody built up this hype that there's going to be this big cameo in the finale. And it's not what they expect. It's not what they expect. So I'll put a spoiler tag on this review because there's some things I definitely want to say. And then the other complaint that people have is who Evan Peters actually turned out to be. But guys, come on. This is Marvel. I don't believe Evan Peters' story, even if he's not in future Marvel movies, I don't believe Evan Peters' story is over yet. I just don't. There are clues in the frames where they're in a house, and there are clues in the frames of the image that tie back to the X-Men universe and tie back to other things in Marvel. So what you see on the surface of this show is maybe not the case. So I reserve judgment on that part of the show, the Evan Peters wrap-up, until I see the rest of what I'll call the Wanda saga. Or House of M. Whatever you want to call it. Because I much believe that there's more than meets the eye to the explanation of that. Now, whether Evan Peters is actually from the X-Men universe or is another character in disguise, and we just didn't see that in this show. In other words, I'm just going to go full spoiler from this point. Evan Peters is revealed to be Ralph, a captive Ralph, Agnes's husband. He's not revealed to be Mephisto or Nightmare or anything like that. And that has pissed off a lot of fans. But guys, if you know Marvel, they've got more up their sleeve, okay? I'm not sure Evan Peters will be in another movie, but there will be references to another movie, or there can be references to him in another movie, or references to Quicksilver, which is who everybody thought he was playing. And, it's very clear in the episode that he got his powers, at least on the surface, he got his powers. This WandaVision version of Quicksilver got his powers through Agatha. And so everybody's talking like it's the biggest bait and switch Marvel's ever done. Yes, there is the Mandarin twist, which, let me just tell you, I thought the Mandarin twist was original and completely unique. And I love Iron Man 3 because it was gutsy and bold and unique. I am a different kind of fan. My fandom comes from my emotions, not necessarily every plot detail, every story beat, all that stuff. It comes from how does this show, movie thing make me feel? And let me just tell you, if they don't just hand Paul Bettany, Catherine Hahn, and particularly Elizabeth Olsen every Emmy possible, there's something wrong. Elizabeth Olsen had to be a chameleon and play different levels of emotion, different characters, different styles in a 9-episode series, and she did a brilliant job. Let me just tell you, the last, I'll call it 20 minutes of this episode is some of the most epic and emotional, heartbreaking stuff I've seen on film in a long time in the Marvel Universe. It will rip your heart out and make you cry. This really is a story. Forget about all the MCU-related mysteries. This is about two people who love each other and have to say goodbye. to each other? And how do you deal with grief? And how do you cope with grief? Particularly on top of the fact that you've got superpowers. So how do you deal with emotional loss, psychological trauma when you've got superpowers? And I mentioned in other videos, I have 3 degrees: a degree in psychology, a degree in higher education, and a film production and screenwriting degree. And as somebody who studied psychology, the idea that Marvel was not afraid to go deep and dark on this show and go heavy as the show progressed is absolutely brilliant, and I cannot wait for the new direction they're taking Phase 4. They're having some guts, and they're going deep, and they're going heavy, and they're going dark, and Wanda's at the center of it all, and I cannot wait to see where her journey takes us in the next 2 or 3 years. I don't know how long Elizabeth is under contract with Marvel, and I don't know if she's going to re-up or if maybe, people do get tired of doing blockbusters, traveling months out of the year, all that stuff. So who knows? But I'm going to savor every moment of Wanda's story for as long as it goes, because this show was awesome. And I gotta say, they pulled out all the stops on the action. The action was awesome. And I enjoyed every minute of this episode. I enjoyed every minute of this season, of this series. Marvel's taking things in a whole new direction. And from an emotional standpoint and a story standpoint, but for me, from an emotional standpoint, as someone who's really going through a lot right now in his life, having a show deal with psychological trauma the way this show has is absolutely phenomenal and inspiring and, in an odd sort of way, uplifting for me. It's like, wow. They're covering stuff that I can relate to on different levels, but trauma's trauma. Because physical trauma also has a psychological impact. So I can relate to a lot of this, and this show is amazing. The action's great, and what happens with Catherine Hahn's character, I believe, is going to have repercussions. Big repercussions. So we're not done with her, I don't think. But this is just heartbreaking. The show just breaks your heart. And it's so emotional and so brilliantly done. It might be my favorite thing that Marvel's ever done. Just because of the new complexity and the new depth that that Marvel is bringing to its world right now. And I gotta say, you're talking to a guy who, from an emotional level, as much as I love Endgame and all the Marvel movies, my absolute favorite character in the Marvel Cinematic Universe is Doctor Strange. That is a movie that I've watched probably 50 times or more. And I watch all the movies a lot, but Doctor Strange, because his character is based in magic and spirituality and also comes out of deep physical trauma and psychological trauma, I get that. And I really resonate with Doctor Strange and now Wanda. So I want to thank everybody who put this show together, because it was amazing. And my plan is to do a rewatch of the entire WandaVision series in maybe a month or so, or maybe when I'm recovering from my surgeries. And then I'll do a video breakdown of each of the, the whole series more, in depth. Maybe I'll break it up into a series of videos. I don't know. But I wanted to do a basic review that I love this show, and I understand that there are fans that may be upset, but in my opinion, is they're probably upset because they had their own expectations of what they wanted this show to be, and me, I try to roll with the punches and watch the show unfold and judge it as it goes for what is there, not what I wanted to be there. I'm one that likes Iron Man 3. I'm one that has grown to appreciate Iron Man 2 more with each viewing, even though it's probably the weakest movie of the MCU. So I look at the world through emotion and how it makes me feel, and does it lift my spirits. The MCU means a lot to me because from the minute one, from 2008's Iron Man, I have used the MCU to cope with my long-term physical problems. It's funny, but a lot of my pelvic pain started in 2009, or really started to ramp up in 2009. So basically, for the bulk of the MCU, I have been in pain. And so this universe inspires me. It keeps me going. There are other things that do too, Stephen King books, my technology that I love, my family. But the MCU means a lot to me. And so thank you, Elizabeth Olsen, Catherine Hahn, Paul Bettany, the rest of the cast, the crew, the writers, and the creative genius who is Kevin Feige. You're doing great work. Don't let anybody pull you down. Don't let the negativity eat your soul, because there will always be haters, but a lot of us are inspired and appreciate the MCU for more than just its entertainment value, but it's its own kind of look at the human experience, and that matters. That matters a lot. So take care, and I will talk to you guys soon. And go watch WandaVision several times. So take care. Bye-bye.